everyone. Welcome back to KXAN Plus. I am your host, Esmeralda Zamora, and today we have our Tommy's travel forecast with our KXAN meteorologist, Tommy House. Tommy, thanks for joining me. How are you doing?
I'm good. Listen, my phone might be blowing up throughout this show. I got to tell you why. New England Patriots, right? The Patriots, they were losing. Dolphins had this kickoff return, and my family and my friends are texting me. We're talking smack in the KXAN Fantasy Football chat. Right when that happens, then the Patriots get another kick return. It was the Dolphins, Pats. I'm playing Phil in fantasy football. I think it's going to go well. So far, I'm winning. I'm projected to win, but things can happen. You know what I mean? It's Sunday football, and we're back.
I know. It's Sunday. It's football season, and football season also means fall, and that's my favorite time of year. So I'm here for it. Even if I'm not a football fan, I'm still here for it.
Well, listen, also yesterday, in-laws family, all Aggies fans, it was on KXAN. They came back and beat Notre Dame. So a lot of happy faces and people that I know, and if the Pats can pull this off. But weather-wise, we're good in Austin. It's dry. Warm weekend. How was your weekend so far?
It was good. I spent a lot of time outdoors, which I'm
That's
glad
good.
because we're almost done with summer. We don't know when this hot weather is gonna leave us. So
Yeah,
I
no
say
triple
take
digits.
advantage. Yeah.
Still pretty warm though. People at DKR were having a tough time in some of the heat. Today I went for a walk, took the pup outside, realized I forgot sunscreen, so
Oh no.
maybe a little bit red here for me, but overall, weather's cooperative. That's a good way to say it.
Yeah, well, although our weather here in Austin is pretty calm, I would say a lot of our community here or our neighbors want to know what the weather is across the map to see in case they're traveling, to make sure friends and family are safe.
Sure.
What can you tell us about that?
Well, let me say the populated areas are fine. The only severe weather action I could find is the Dakotas. I don't know many people from the Dakotas. No shade, right? That's just portions of North Dakota having a tornado watch with the high pressure in place. In our area, the storms get kind of skirted north, so that's why the northern plains are having some action there. So anyone in the yellow box, Bismarck's the only notable city there in that tornado watch itself, and that expires through the evening. So you look at the clouds and radar here. I'm actually going to pull up, first we'll pull up the radar and see what happens. And, of course, the graphics are a little bit frozen, Esme. Let's see if there's anything we can do to advance this. What happened is the weather team was switching out computers, and, it looks...
If you want, I can show your graphic on
it failed and crashed.
online.
But we're going to... Yeah, right? Oh, my gosh. Let's reload it and see what we can do here. Sometimes with technology, get a little lucky.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes it just takes some time, right?
We got another graphic. If this means I have to crash and restart the computer to advance every graphic, I will do it for y'all. What we're looking at right now is just some unsettled weather up in the plains. Severe thunderstorms in the yellow boxes for Kansas, portions of Nebraska. And then in the red, there is the tornado warnings actually approaching the city of Bismarck itself. There was actually some storm chasers, some of my colleagues, I know some of these people that went up and were trying to kind of get these tornadoes. And I saw on X that they were posting that up in the Dakotas, they were storm chasing and they found at least one storm chaser, a multi-vortex tornado.
What is that?
Pretty much just imagine a tornado with multiple little spouts kind of coming down. Could have been a double most likely, but there was some definitely intense tornadic impacts. I will say, the population here isn't huge and substantial. Obviously, still tornadoes are really scary, but we're going to have to watch this. One of the reasons why is this is our time 2:08, so almost an hour ago there was a report of that multi-vortex tornado. At this time, however, notice the tornado warning in the red has moved further north. And where I'm watching, if this storm that has tornadic capabilities continues to move further north and west, there's I-94 and there's the city of Bismarck, which is highly populated. So a little bit concerning there. We have the tornado watch in effect for Bismarck. Could the warning get extended, Esme? I think there's a possibility that the city of Bismarck itself could be preparing for a tornado. But this lasts only through the day. Today, the threat should see a bit of a less tornadic environment starting tomorrow.
So if you have any plans to head near Bismarck, be
further
careful.
Up north. Yeah, I mean, and sometimes a lot of people here locally in Austin have friends and family up in these places. So although we're not showing the specific Central Texas counties in forecast, the big picture with this travel segment that I do, it's to alert people because we have all over the country friends and family in Texas that know or maybe have once resided with people in these places.
Or are heading that way soon.
Or heading in that way, right? Traveling, hence the name of the travel forecast. But this tornado warning definitely has tornadic capabilities. We've seen this same cell drop a tornado, has since, it appears, lifted. I believe this is radar indicated, but definitely has the possibility of potentially touching down again. If this warning gets extended, we'll know in the next, let's say, 15 to 20 minutes.
And these areas are experiencing severe thunderstorms right now?
The specific severe thunderstorm warning doesn't have that property, but it definitely has the strong winds. The problem with these laptops, it's a little bit tricky to zoom out, so that zooms in. There we go. Zooming out, the closest severe thunderstorm warnings are down in Nebraska, but this entire environment has the capability to produce some severe storms with those tornadoes and even some flash flooding.
Well, speaking of flash flooding, how are the tropics looking?
Yeah, wow, tropics, great question. I mean, overall, September 10th was peak hurricane season, and things haven't been too crazy. The Atlantic Basin has been quiet. Slowly we'll advance the graphics here. I want to point out this wave that's in the Atlantic. I circled it in white to show where those disorganized showers and thunderstorms are currently positioned. And the National Hurricane Center says, hey, the red, that's the high probability. In that polygon, we could see our next named storm, which is Gabrielle. So the next 2 days, there's a 20% chance this becomes our next named storm. In the next 7 days, so through next Sunday, 70%. That has been upgraded since this morning. This morning it was medium, and now it's high. So if we see the proper conducive environment for tropical development, I think this will become our next named storm. Keep in mind, peak hurricane season just a few days ago. We still have through the end of November to track some potential storms. So it hasn't developed yet, but it's something I'll be watching closely.
Yeah, Rich and I this morning were discussing about how the hurricane season that we're experiencing right now isn't nearly as active as we anticipated it to be, but it's also not over. So there's a possibility for everything, right?
Definitely. You know, some big notable storms happened in late September, October, even November. I remember as a kid, we had Hurricane Sandy, which became post-tropical, slammed the New York coast, and I was living in the Boston area at the time. We had widespread power outages and flooding, and on the back end of Sandy, several feet of snow in the Appalachian Mountains. So you could still see some powerful tropical storms. And this list fascinates me because every single named storm we've had this hurricane season, the maximum strength has been just a tropical storm, except Aaron. That was a Category 5 storm. Feast or famine,
Drastic change.
Either the lowest possible strength tropical storm, or it's a full-on Category 5 major hurricane. Good news, though, no hurricane landfall and impacts for the continental United States. Overall, it's been a little more quiet, but we still have a few more weeks to watch closely.
And Tommy, for those of us that are thinking maybe if we anticipated hurricane season to be a little bit more busy, what are the influences? Why is it not so busy?
Yeah, dusty, dry air's been in place. The position of these storms that come off the African coast, if they get choked out, right, they don't have, you need not a lot of wind shear for these storms to develop. Wind shear is when wind changes in strength and direction in correlation to height. So the wind shear, if there's a lot of wind shear, kind of fizzles out any sort of potential convection and some strong storms. The dusty, dry Saharan dust continues to also slowly choke out any sort of potential developments. And also, it just depends on several other factors. We do know we do have warm ocean temperatures, though, that could create some stronger storms. You know, obviously, nobody's hoping for anything else, and I really do hope that we transition away from hurricane season. But, you know, several more weeks, something to watch closely. The Gulf also has been quiet in terms of Gulf impacts. However, I have to work that carefully because we do know, of course, Barry, you remember that, made landfall in Mexico. Those remnants produced the catastrophic flooding here in central Texas. So even if it's a tropical storm and that's it, Barry didn't become a hurricane, those impacts here locally, we know we've been covering and talking about just the widespread devastation that is still just beginning to take those steps toward recovery in places like Kerrville.
And it's something that we are repeating all the time. We may sound like a broken record, but you need to be aware of when another tropical storm such as that one hits so that we are also prepared, because we will be impacted again.
Yeah, and I want to show you something too, because even if we don't see in the next 7 to 10 days, obviously any sort of tropical impacts, the rainfall here, slow moving, lagging, so you're going to have to bear with us. This is rain to come by the National Weather Service. They put these out looking at 7-day totals. Look at Miami. I don't know if you remember last Sunday, Esme, I said there was like 4 to 6 inches of rain for southern Florida. They're now going to get another 3 to 6 inches plus.
They're underwater.
They're underwater. Their environment, though, is like a sponge. When I lived in Savannah for a year, I remember we would get like 7 inches of rain in storms.
That's cool.
And it wouldn't even flood. It makes no sense. You know, if 3 inches of rain here that comes down, it runs off, it floods, it causes...
soaks it all up.
Yeah. The tropical areas, you know, even down toward the valley, they handle rain very different than we do because we are in a semi-arid climate. So, you know, interesting to see there. But the coastlines, Outer Banks of North Carolina, they're going to be seeing a slow-moving front that's going to squeeze out maybe up to a half of a foot of rain. And then up in the plains, there you see the 2 inches up by Nebraska. That's from that same storm setup that I'm tracking right now with that tornado watch. One of the only dry places, Austin. I mean, you know, listen.
Yeah.
I want some rain. It's been a very dry month. I want rain, though, gradually spread out, no flooding. But we are significantly behind. I want to see if I can pull up our rainfall almanac. Look how much room we have to get back up to before the end of the month. We would need about 1.5 inches just to get back to normal. On the year, 2.63 inches. You know, is there going to be any rain through the next 7 days? It's not looking likely.
Next month?
Yeah, I mean, next...
do we have any hope?
Although I will say this. I'm working on a story that hopefully is going to come out in the next week talking about how we're in our second rainy season. October is the second wettest month climatologically here. Hard to believe. You would think that like May, April would be the wettest. May is the wettest, but October can bring some sneaky rainfall. So hopefully we can get something there. But we do know right now there's nothing too crazy. You know, Rich Siegel had, I think, a 10% rain chance this morning. I'm still crunching some numbers before our 5 o'clock to see if I can bring that up or lower it. But it's looking dry. It's looking hot. It's looking sunny. And not seeing any sort of big changes. And, you know, the familiar look on the skyline that we have been seeing time after time shows all the cameras.
Let me see if I can pull.
Yeah, if you could pull the Austonian or one of them.
Nope,
I mean, you can look at all of them there. Yeah, I mean, that's what it's going to look like. I can actually go in and see if I can manually. Yeah, let's click on the Santa Rita Ranch. This is
there we go.
Liberty Hill. What you see there is going to be a familiar look through the next 7 days. I mean, you could see a little bit of rain here and there, but things are trending.
Hot, dry, sunny.
Yep. So, you know, nothing too crazy. But that's why Tommy's travel forecast is fun, because I don't have to just talk about local weather. I can go big picture. And there's always something, right? I mean, there's tornadoes up in the Dakotas, the tropics. Even though we're quiet here, there's some weather around the country.
Yeah, there always is. And Tommy, with Tommy's travel forecast, you always give us a web article on the KXAN website that was just published right now. Tell us a little bit about what's in this article.
Yeah, I mean, so there's no big city impacts I don't see for storms or flights. Things are looking relatively smooth. A little touch on today's severe threat in the plains. Interesting ads there. Storm threat continuing into Tuesday, just a level 1 out of 5, and then, you know, update on the tropics. And then Tropical Storm Mario is in the Eastern Pacific. I didn't pay too much attention to it because it's going to steer away from the Baja Peninsula. Sometimes those sneaky storms can kind of wrap in and bring more moisture and rain for us. I don't see that happening. So Mario, you know, not something I'm going to pay attention to, because by midweek that tropical storm is going to be a depression and kind of just fizzle out. But you know, Eastern Pacific's always busy. Could always be a new storm behind there. There's a medium chance in that same area. So maybe next Sunday there's going to be another Eastern Pacific storm. But for now, things are in that area manageable.
That's right. Well, I do want to remind everyone that our Tommy's Travel Forecast show is a show that comes out every Sunday, and it's also available for on-demand streaming and any streaming platform that you have. You just need to download the KXAN free app, KXAN Plus, in the App Store, and put it on your TV. And you can find videos just like Tommy's and I's show and much, much more exclusive videos. Tommy, thank you for joining me, and we will see you on air.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Good transition. Good exit.